Alright, so today I wanted to study my aim in Valorant. I am not a professional Valorant player. I am actually Silver 2, which is right here. I am also not a professional data analyzer. I'm just a student which wanted to make an imperfect study over my aim. But if you do want to look at my study, you can go to the description of this video to check out the file. So, Valorant aim. Everyone wants to have a good aim, and a lot of people genuinely have very good aim, and if you want to know your performance at the game, you can go into Stat Tracker, but I thought that was not enough. So that is why I made a study on my aim in Valorant, which is very bad and detrimental. But here is what I was able to find out. So for the study, I went into practice mode and went to the shooting range, which is a place where bots appear randomly within a range, and you have to shoot them and kill them. Essentially, I tracked how many I was able to kill. Keep in mind that for most of the study, the shooting was done off camera, since I don't enjoy how much my frames per second suffer when I am recording. But for a deeper analysis, I did have to record some of the practices, which I did 5 for each of the crosshairs for each of the 3 sensitivities, which makes a total of 45 practice rounds total. But before I tell you the results of the study, I do have to tell you everything that went into this. I used the following sensitivities: 0.44, 0.54, and 0.64, and my crosshairs were the following. The codes to all the 3 are in the description, and yes, the names are weird, but those weren't made with the purpose of testing them. They were made a long time ago and are the ones I usually cycle between when I am doing very bad in the game. And yes, what you are seeing in the screen is the gameplay for my study. I have around 35 minutes of gameplay, but I did not include it all because I wasn't about to make a 35-minute video. The variables or things that were taken into account as changing for this study were crosshair and sensitivity, but the data I got from it was the amount of kills, the deviation, and the accuracy for distances in a very broad spectrum. By this, I mean I wasn't very specific with my study, but the results are still there and can still be taken directly from the data that I was able to handle. And at the end of the video, I will tell you what I got out of it, which will be my new crosshair and which will be my new sensitivity. Going into the results of the study, I didn't think I was going to get much out of it, but I immediately noticed how the highest sensitivities were giving me the least amount of kills. Since people already say that the lower the sensitivity, the better the aim of the player, I was going to be more focused on the crosshair, which for some reason, the one I typically use was the one with the lowest average of kills overall, and the one with the highest was test, which, unless you've noticed, is the one closest to the default crosshair that Valorant gives its players, and even though I was feeling much worse with that crosshair, I still was getting more kills. I do have to point out that the trend in test is not visible in the recordings, but then again, my FPS was way lower when I was recording, so those are results that we can sort of make something out of them, but also not, if that makes any sense. Anyway, for the rest of the results, I used exclusively the video recordings since I was able to further analyze those results outside of the range. So I started to look at the deviation, whether I put my crosshair to the left or right of the bot, which yeah, doesn't say whether I am over or under shooting, but I am way too tired to keep on going, and tomorrow I am definitely not going to keep on going with this project, but still, you can notice how test, with the highest sensitivity, had the most deviation from the center. Now, for those that do not know, typically you would measure deviation, how far it would move from the actual bot, but I just measured the amount of times it went to the left or right of the bot and took an average and called it a day, because I am about to die. Still, I am not able to talk trash on high sensitivities, considering that the one with the least amount of deviation was with the set crosshair and the highest sensitivity, 0.64. Now, for my favorite part of the study, I checked the amount of shots that I was able to hit and in which general direction, which, without going into any amount of detail, I hit most of the shots closer to the crosshair, which proves to be the best way to play the game. Proper crosshair placement should never be thrown to the garbage, as shots closer to the crosshair require less movements. Still, higher sensitivity proves to be just a little garbage, since as you can see in the following graph, there is a dip. Fair warning, the graphs strictly represent accuracy for the sides, and as you can see, it greatly decreases with the highest sensitivity, which means that the lower sensitivity is compensation for the bad crosshair placement. Finally, we're going to look at the graph for miss percentage for further to center, which, as I already said, is just how the miss percentage increases the further from the crosshair the enemy appears, and how the miss percentage closer to the center simply is smaller overall. But most importantly here, in the 6th step of the testing, which is equal to the set crosshair with a 0.44 sensitivity, which was the lowest one I tested with, it just had a lower miss percentage, around 0 to 10%. So we're gonna put it around 4 point something percent. Alright, time for conclusions, and then time to go to sleep. Remember, good crosshair placement, since the closer to the center, the better your shots land. Also, we know that even though just a little bit, I deviate a little bit to the left of people whenever I'm shooting, or at the very least without any kind of moving, because remember, I am testing absolutely no movement, so as long as I am still, the results will equate to my real life experience, or at least I hope they do. So I'll probably end up using a combination between the test and triple and crosshair, since they yielded very good results, and because they are the ones that can mix the most. Also, do not expect any updates, because I don't think I will ever try to go back into this study or any Valorant study for that matter. If you did like this video, I am paying, and I just do whatever I like, which for today, or yesterday for that matter, was studying my aim. This is my first video, and I don't know whether I will make any more videos, but maybe I might. Alright, good night.
Let's get it moving, shorty shake that ass. Your bitch, she wants my digits, but I told her I'm a pass. She all up in my DMs, cause she knows that I'm the one. To me, little baby, you look like your one night worth of fun. Bad bitch, but it ain't no